Undulation brings your awareness to what happens in between the stretch. What's the process of how you stretch? And how can you involve more parts of your body? For example, here's cat-cow stretching, moving from the tail and working up the spine. I really like it because we spend a lot of time moving from our necks, and this retrains the body to move more from our base of support, like this. So tipping the tail up, lifting the tail towards the ceiling, and then vertebra by vertebra, bringing that movement up the spine, trying to train the neck to move last. And then draw your belly button towards your spine to tip the tail down. And again, moving vertebra by vertebra. Letting the movement flow up your spine. Go ahead and lie on your back with your knees bent and feet on the floor. I'm going to put my hands here, but you can put your hands by your sides. And tilt your pelvis. As you inhale, arch your low back off the floor. And as you exhale, draw your pubic bone towards your chin so that your low back settles into the floor. Nice and gentle. And as you go back and forth with your breath, try to feel each of the individual vertebrae in your back. And with each breath, let the movement flow up your spine, trying to find each of the vertebrae individually, so that the movement comes up between your shoulder blades, trying to find each of those individual vertebrae there. And then also coming up to your neck. Seeing if you can coordinate the movement all the way from your tail, sacrum, low back, middle back, upper back, and your neck. This is the Happy Dog Undulation. Gently wag your tail to the right, and then turn your chest so that you can look toward your tail. You may not see it. Don't crane your neck. And then come back to center. Nice and gently and slowly, then wag your tail to the left and turn your chest that way. Coming back to center. As you look, you can look over your shoulder, although you might not see it. Coming back. And you can look under your shoulder. Just do whatever feels the best. And try to feel like a gentle, slow, happy dog. We have upward dog in yoga and downward dog This is happy dog. Just only go to the range that feels good, which might be very little or none at all. And it's like a happy doggy. Let your spine move whichever way feels good, with a slow tail wagging. And then lean back. We're going to do some undulation seated in a chair. So just find a chair that's nice and sturdy so you can move around on it, and sit forward in the chair so you get your feet firmly planted on the ground. Let's just start with a very basic one. Let your arms be relaxed. And as you exhale, drop your chin and your chest down towards your thighs. And as you inhale, lift through your chest to come back up, and then arch up a little bit. So this is just like what we're doing with the pelvic tilt, but we're leading from our upper back here. So again, exhaling, dropping forward to round through the back. And then as you inhale, leading with the chest, not with the neck or the low back, straighten your spine, and then arch your upper back. And exhaling, coming forward. Just like we were doing with the pelvic tilt, trying to get a sense of each of the vertebrae. So as you're rolling up, try to find each vertebra in your spine as you come up. And also as you exhale, coordinating the movement, feeling your low back, middle back, upper back, and neck open, stacking the vertebrae on top of each other, and then arching up. Once more. Good. And this time just stack the vertebrae up on top of each other. And then bring your hands behind your head, assuming that's okay on your arms. Make sure that's okay on your neck. Now we're going to do easy sway. So go ahead and lean to the right. As you lean to the right, your left elbow will lift up towards the ceiling, and then come over the other way. So lean to the left, your right elbow lifts up. And you're not trying to make the biggest stretches possible, like we were doing in the pelvic tilt. You're just trying to get opening through the vertebra throughout your spine. Getting a nice, smooth, easy movement. Starting to wash away the crepitus that's starting to develop in our ligaments. Right? Notice if there's one side that's easier than the other. And just kind of work with the side that's not quite as easy. Seeing what sort of little micro movement additions can you do. You see, this is nice and smooth for me. So I want to work a little bit more on the other side. Trying to get a little bit more opening through the ribs, not as a great big stretch, but just how can I make that movement more fluid. This next undulation is very small. Movements don't have to be big to be powerful or beneficial. It's actually even called unnoticeable, and you can do it in a business meeting. Sitting in a chair with your feet and sit bones firmly planted, press one foot into the floor, and notice you'll feel a little tiny shift in your pelvis, and maybe up through your spine, and then let go of the pressure in your foot, and that sway will come back. Press into your other foot, feel the sway, let go of the pressure and come back to neutral. If you press evenly through the ball and heel of your foot, the inside and outside of your foot, you'll get a little bit more lift. And then let go and get that subtle movement back to neutral. So alternate feet, one foot pressing down, so you feel the shift in your pelvis, the lift through your spine. Let go, return to neutral. If you don't feel much of a lift through your spine, just keep working with where the weight is pressing down into your foot. Try to find the combination that gives you the most lift. This is a great exercise if your sacrum tends to go out. It's so small, it's starting to strengthen the muscles around the sacrum. It's also giving your brain some good information about where you're uneven and how the connection between your foot and your pelvis can be more functional and balanced. So pressing foot to foot, getting the little tiny sway, and doing enough until you feel even on both sides. Like the last undulation, this next one is going to use a different sort of movement. We're going to move slowly. Small movements and slow and small movements can be helpful. So we're going to use a rotation motion. I want you to keep your belly button facing forward because you don't want to rotate through your low back. And I also want you to keep your chin lined up with your chest, more or less, so that we're rotating through the upper back. That's the part of the spine that needs to work on rotation the most. And many movements overwork the neck. And this is a way to teach your body to not overwork your neck. So we're going to start by rotating the chest, but not the belly button, to the right. So go ahead and turn to the right. It's nice to go as you exhale. Come back to center. And then turn your chest, but not your belly button, to the left. Keep breathing nice and evenly. Now when we go to the right, we're going to go more slowly. So we're going to take a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You want to be halfway. 4, 3, 2, 1. Going as slowly coming back. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And going now to the left just as slowly. And you're shooting for halfway here at about the 5 count. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Coming back slowly. By going slowly, we're going to use the smaller muscles around the spine that often get neglected. Now let's slow it down a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to go again to the left. This time, go more slowly. You just make the movement as slow as you can. And when I slow it down, it starts to feel a little bit ratchety. I want to get involved with my neck or my low back, but don't let yourself. And slowly come back. You might want to boomerang back out. But just come very slowly. And the more you do it, the more that ratchety feeling will change as the little tiny muscles get more hydrated and more fluid. And it's not just the muscles, it's the connective tissue around the muscles and even the ligaments attaching all the little vertebrae of the spine. Oh, I went too fast. So slowly coming back out. Let's get some tension out of our shoulders. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and then drop them down towards the floor. Lift them up, hold for a second, drop them down. Then lift them up a little and pull them down. Pull your shoulders towards your hips, towards the floor. Lift them up, hold, pull them down. Draw your shoulder blades even farther down your back. Get more space between your shoulders and ears. Good. Then let's do some circles. So circling your shoulders up, back, down, and relax. Up, back, down, relax. Let's go the other way. Back, up, forward and down, back, up, forward and down, and then going back again. So up, back, and down. And then one shoulder at a time. Feeling that clunkiness there in my shoulders. So again, just trying to get it softer, more fluid. And then let that movement go into the spine. Let your spine move with your shoulders. And then let your shoulders and spine lead your arms. So as your shoulder lifts, lift your elbow, shoulder, elbow, shoulder, elbow, shoulder, elbow. Then add the wrist, so shoulder, elbow, wrist, shoulder, elbow, wrist. So not so much trying to copy what I'm doing, it's just feeling how does your shoulder, elbow, and wrist want to move in a way that's going to soften up the clunkiness. You can make this as big as you like, or keep it small. Just loosening yourself up and feeling better. Hip hiker is the next undulation, and if you had trouble with happy dog, you might not want to do this one. So lift your hip up towards your ear. So you're going to lift your sit bone off the seat, and then lift the other sit bone off the seat. So rocking from side to side, getting a contraction in the side of your waist. And if those muscles aren't very strong, you might not be able to lift up high, and that's okay, and it might hurt. And so if it hurts, you don't want to do it. Going back and forth. Sometimes this can feel really good to strengthen those muscles. And as you're strengthening one side, the other side is getting a stretch. But again, it's not so much the stretch or strengthening, it's just lubricating those muscles, getting them more fluid and less stiff. If this doesn't work for you, go back to reverse the slouch, where you drop your chest and lift your chest and arch up a little bit. You can also do this standing. Maybe when you're waiting in line at the grocery store, I guess if nobody's watching. It's good to undulate standing up as well. You can do the easy sway with your arms up here, like we did seated. It's a good stretch through the whole side of your body, but it's also good coordination. You can add the press through the foot, so you can press through your left foot as you lift your left elbow up, and press through the right foot as you lift your right elbow up. Some more full body connection. So we're loosening up not just the spine and the shoulder, but also the hips. It's also good to do it opposite. So press through your left foot as you lift your right shoulder up, and press through your right foot as you lift your left shoulder up. So movement isn't just about range of motion or getting stronger. There's also a lot of movement that has to do with how much your brain recognizes what's going on inside your body. Right? So you can develop all these different connections so your body can realize, oh, I'm going to move across the body. One foot connects to the other shoulder. And you can make the movements big, or like we did seated with Unnoticeable, you can make them nice and small. And this is an undulation you can do. I do this a lot when I'm waiting at the grocery store. Don't do it at the bank though. Bank, they're used to everybody doing their normal stuff. They're not used to people undulating. But nobody will even notice in the grocery store. They're all busy looking at the tabloids. So just keep movement going throughout your day. A variation of some of the ones we've done before. As you exhale, drop your chest down and bend your knees. So you're going to kind of curl the back of your spine. And as you inhale, press through your feet and lift your chest up. And exhale, drop your chest, bend your knees, let your chin drop. Inhale, press through your feet, lift your chest up. And exhale, drop your chest down as your knees bend. Inhale, lift your chest up as you press through your feet. So this is a Ferris wheel undulation. It's like your rib cage is a Ferris wheel, rolling up and back and down. This feels great on my low back. Just make sure it feels good on yours if you keep continuing. This one's a little trickier. It's to go there. The Ferris wheel's going to turn around the other way. So it's going to drop forward, but keep your low back straight, and then round through your back. And keep your back straight, knees slightly bent, leaning forward, then round through the back. That one feels really good too. For some people, one feels a lot better than the other. But just work with what feels good for you. Go ahead and just nod yes to stretch the front and back of your neck. Then nod no. That helps stretch more of the sides and into the back of the neck. Trying to feel it from your shoulder up to the back of your head. And here's the interesting part. Combine yes and no together. So as you're tilting your head from side to side, as you're rotating, you're also looking up and down, trying to feel all the little muscles in the front and back and sides of your neck. It just goes to show you that there are multiple variations, infinite variations of movement that you can use, even with an everyday movement like nodding yes and no. The most important undulation you can do is free form, and it's just moving any way your body wants. So it's not how I'm moving. Just feel, where does your body want to move? Is it a hip that needs a little bit of movement? And just get some sort of little squirming or wiggling around, as most people call undulation. And you can undulate standing up, or some people prefer to do it sitting in a chair. So just keep feeling into your body. Feeling for what part wants to move. How can you move it to feel good? Moving in that way, seeing what other movement occurs to you. I happen to say I like to undulate from a standing position to down on a chair. On a chair you get, you can do some fun things using the chair to get into different positions. And then coming down to the floor to give my body a full range of movement, which is the whole idea of undulation. Softening things up, loosening things up, and exploring all the different movements that we've lost. When we were kids, we used to move all these great different ways, and that's what kept us so healthy. That's what kept our body feeling so good. So we want to rediscover that, recover that movement simply by moving in new and different ways. Well, they're not too new because we used to do them all when we were kids.